strangers, dear, but you don't have to look at me that way, or else I'll have to say, you know your biggest fear, but what I'm sure you'll miss out on the most. So shall we have a beer? It maybe sounds crazy, I know you had a hard night in the spotlight, but I got a place we can go. It probably sounds crazy to you. I know you had a fine night in the limelight, let me add a memory or two.
Hour number 2 of the Doug Stewart Show, baby. Let's go. Yes, sir. It is hour number 2. Man Talk Monday, February 20th, 2017. Man. Oh, and I apologize. Boy, I can't remember which Stewie it was, man. But one of the Stewies, and I'll go back and look at it in a second, but one of the Stewies in the Doug Stewart Show Facebook chat group gave me a shout-out and gave the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network a shout-out for the new show on the network, Chop It Up. Yeah. So I'll try to look here and see if I can find it real quick. But they gave me a shout out, man, for the series Chop It Up on the DougStewartShow.com, and talked about how good it was and how enjoyable it was to listen to some of the interviews, man. We're planning another good guest coming up here pretty soon. But man, I'm telling you, if you haven't heard an episode or one of the episodes of Chop It Up, man, you need to. You need to. And how you do that is by becoming a premium member to the Doug Stewart Show and the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. It's only $4 a month. It's $4 a month. It comes straight out of your account through the platform Stripe. Somebody asked a couple of days ago, we were talking about this and how I'm trying to wean myself off of PayPal because of some of the reports about the ownership of PayPal. What's the equivalent to PayPal? And it's Stripe. Stripe. So it's safe and secure, man. If you do the math on how much $4 a month is for the 60 hours of entertainment that we set out to give you every month, sometimes we don't do 60 hours. Sometimes we don't do 60 hours because we have engagements or prior commitments or whatever, so we take off early or we don't do a show. But if you compare that to the 60 hours that we give you or set out to give you every month, man, I mean, it's a great deal. And most of you think that we have a great product, obviously. And so you wouldn't tune in as regularly as you do. So we ask that you please become a premium member, man, and check out all the episodes of Chop It Up, as well as full episodes of The Doug Stewart Show any and every time you want to. You don't have to worry about, I have to catch it so-and-so time. So as I hear the whole thing, once again, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, 15 hours a week, 60 hours a month, man. Please support Stewart Media and Entertainment, man. Great stuff with Chop It Up. Obviously, what we do around here, man, is kind of big, family-oriented, man. I appreciate the support you already give us, man. But trust me, chop it up. You missing some good stuff. The interview with my Uncle Donnie, I would call epic. Yeah. I would call epic, man. I mean, he really digs deep, and we go deep back into our history, our relationship with each other. You know, me and Ryan, my brother, being young kids, and very interesting stuff. Like, if you listen to the Stews over the last 15 years or so, I mean, Uncle Donnie kind of talks about when we were kids and how things were, and you know, how things turned out with me and Ryan, man. So very interesting stuff, man. Check out the latest episode of Chop It Up with the great Uncle Donnie. All right, 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com, but the Sacramento Kings stunningly changed course Sunday night and agreed to trade All-Star center DeMarcus Cousins to the New Orleans Pelicans just 2 weeks after publicly proclaiming Cousins off the market, according to league sources. The trade that will send Cousins and swingman Omari Caspi to the All-Star host in exchange for Buddy Hield, Tyreek Evans, Langston Galloway, and both a 2017 first and second round pick. That's not enough. So let's stop right there and talk about that part about this story a little bit. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. So Tyreek Evans going back to Sacramento. I think Sacramento is actually the team that drafted him, but played for Sacramento for a couple of years. Tyreek Evans is kind of like an all-star type performer at point guard. You know, kind of close to. So Tyreek Evans going back to Sacramento. Buddy Hield, who they just drafted this year out of Oklahoma, man, on the move already. So that's interesting. The first round pick that Sacramento will acquire in this move, this big deal, is top 3 protected in the June draft. That means New Orleans must immediately surrender the pick if it lands at number 4 or lower. That's right. So Milwaukee's Greg Monroe was being talked about as a team that they were looking to try to pick up possibly, and talking about New Orleans. For some reason, they want to get a big man. There's been talk a little bit about Jahlil Okafor, also about Brooklyn's Brook Lopez. But they get probably the best all-around center in basketball. You know, DeMarcus Cousins plays the game old school style with his back to the basket, and he can also like shoot three-pointers as well, so he can do a lot of the things that these new school centers are doing. But he's an old school center in the way that he plays the game, where he can get the ball down in the post. He can back your ass down. He has some good skill down around the basket once again, kind of like old school. So, wow. I mean, they're going to pair Anthony Davis. They're going to pair Anthony Davis with DeMarcus Cousins, who right now, let me take a look at this, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Right now, they are only 2 games out of the A spot in the Western Conference of making the playoffs. That's right. So right now they have a record of, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, right now they have a record of 23-34, and there's only like 25 games left in the second half of the season. So they're 23-34, and Denver, who right now holds the A spot, is at 25-31, 2.5 games out of that A spot. So now you bring it in Boogie Cousins, DeMarcus Cousins, pairing him up with Anthony Davis. Then you got what's the kid's name? Oh, and I can't remember his name right now. He's injured, I believe. From Indiana, played basketball in Indiana or whatever. You got Solomon Hill. You got Drew Holiday as a point guard as well. So yeah, it seems like you add Anthony Davis to this team, and you should be good to go. You should be able to make up enough ground to make it into the playoffs. And I don't think that they're going to be a threat to win a championship or anything like that. But that's definitely a good look for them, man. So what are your thoughts about DeMarcus Cousins finally being out of Sacramento? And if you're a Sacramento Kings fan, I don't know too many Sacramento Kings fans. I don't know too many Sacramento Kings fans, but, man, you got to feel like you didn't get enough. Now, Buddy Hield, he's had a couple of games this year where you've seen some kind of like some quasi-greatness in him possibly, but, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what Buddy Hield's going to be. He may have reached his ceiling. I mean, so it's definitely a risk. Maybe they see something in him that just about nobody else sees in basketball. But, I mean, it seems like that this deal is way, to the sides of the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, DeMarcus Cousins only has 1 year left on his deal, and before they made this deal, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, him and his representative said that they doubt that whatever team picks him up in some type of trade type of deal or whatever with the Sacramento Kings, that it'd be very unlikely that he'd re-sign with that team. But here's the thing about it. When you sign with this team, they have your rights and can give you more in free agency than any other team in the NBA. So I think the number that I saw was the Pelicans can give him 5 years and like $180 million, $179 million. And money is money. You might say that you want to test the free agent market, but money is money. And if they can pay you more, then add on top of the fact as well, he's from Mobile. So, the fact that he's the next town over, I just talked about this last week, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, for whatever reason we were talking about it, the fact that you're in the next town over in New Orleans to Mobile, to your hometown, maybe that's attractive to you. Maybe that'll give them the leg up on re-signing this cat. And so chances are that they'll probably be able to re-sign him. The other part of that conversation is DeMarcus Cousins, the person, and gelling with the New Orleans Pelicans, which has kind of been an issue. His character has kind of come into question throughout his NBA career. Yeah, I mean, it's come into question, and it's really a lot of, like, knucklehead stuff. Like, I don't think he's ever done anything illegal or anything like that. Served a game suspension for excessive technical fouls. He had, like, 17 technical fouls. So always in some type of little, problem, issue, or debate, or back and forth between him and the referees and teammates and ownership and this, that, and the other. I don't know how real that is. We'll see. That might just be a press thing. But you hear interviews and people talk about DeMarcus Cousins. He's not a bad guy. But we'll see how that pans out in his relationship and the chemistry that they have with the New Orleans Pelicans, him and Anthony Davis, which are the modern-day Twin Towers. I mean, for lack of a better term, it's Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson at the beginning of Olajuwon's career. You have a legitimate